Hello, friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry, Beth, what episode is this?
59.
First of all, I want to say, why are you smiling at me?
You're just really cute.
I looked over, and I always look at Sherry when we kind of do our little intro. And as soon as I looked over, I just saw this face smiling over at me. So
You've been gone for a long time and you're home.
Okay,
that makes me happy.
This is a podcast. This isn't like a flirt session.
Well,
What if that was the topic?
any time with you is a flirt session.
That's adorable. Now, moving on, because we have a very serious topic to talk
We
about.
sure do.
Actually, here's the thing. We are going to talk about what really is a serious topic in a very lighthearted way.
Right.
So it was almost exactly 2 years ago. Actually, this week will be 2 years ago that Anchorage went into what we called hunker down, like our lockdown.
Yep.
At the kind of beginning of COVID, as things started to spread, this is when life really changed for us here. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of looking back on 2 years of COVID, and in a very lighthearted way, we're going to say, what are the things that could have been behind the pandemic?
Right.
These are businesses, ideas, things that, boy, they sure made out well over the last couple of years.
Right.
You guys, I just want to say, this is not serious.
No, we understand that COVID is, and it's been a very traumatic thing for every single person on the planet. However, we're just making light of a serious situation.
100%.
Please don't get offended.
Don't get offended. Please don't get offended. And so we have a list of things here that we think could secretly have been behind all of this.
Correct.
Okay? And we're just going to
Or
go...
not so secretly.
Or not so secretly.
Not so secretly.
That's exactly right. And my hope is that as we read off this list, some of you are like, you know what?
I think they're right.
I can get behind. Like, we are going to start so many new conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Honestly,
I'm here for it.
I'm 100% here for it. So, Sherry, let's start with something that has been around since long before COVID.
Right.
However, during COVID, took off.
Really took off.
What is that?
DoorDash.
Okay, so DoorDash, in case you don't know.
Or Grubhub. Or Uber Eats. Or
Exactly. Any of those kind of meal delivery service. Because it's like, oh man, there's a pandemic, but I still need a 7-layer burrito from Taco Bell. Da, 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 da. DoorDash to the rescue.
Correct.
DoorDash, we had used DoorDash before the pandemic.
I don't think that I actually had the app downloaded on my phone before the pandemic. I think that it was I would download it if I needed it, but I hardly ever used it.
Well, so that's what I was going to say, is that before the pandemic, it was very sparingly.
Right.
I mean, a couple of times.
Now I have a whole folder dedicated to on my phone. I have DoorDash, and I have Grubhub, and I have Uber Eats, and I have Instacart, and I have all of the things.
And so
that will just bring my things to me.
And it's so funny because I work with somebody, and we were talking about during COVID, she's like, I've had to delete it from my phone. I had to delete DoorDash from my phone. I just can't. I couldn't. I was doing it too much. It got really bad. And so I feel like for a lot of people, that's one of the things, because meal delivery, I think felt and still feels in some way, it feels like extreme.
Well, yeah, but I think that it was the only option aside from having to make all of your own meals.
100%.
Because we couldn't go out to restaurants. Restaurants weren't open.
Nope.
And so it was the option of, okay, I do not feel like cooking tonight, where normally we would just go somewhere. That wasn't an option, so I guess we're going to have it brought to me.
Yeah, so DoorDash.
Yep.
My gosh. I could be convinced that DoorDash was behind all this.
Yep, for sure.
However, the second thing we're going to say on our list. Yeah. This is the thing that at the very beginning of COVID, I thought, you know what? I think this is what's behind it.
Yeah.
Charmin.
Or toilet paper in general.
Big toilet paper.
Yep.
The big
toilet paper.
Big toilet paper got together at some secret meeting, probably in the Alps. And they were like, all right, how do we get people around the world to stockpile our product? You guys, what the heck happened at the beginning of COVID?
Why did everybody lose their minds over toilet paper?
Did you guys plan on doing an abnormal amount of pooping? Or what was happening?
Right. I mean, maybe it was most people do most of their pooping at their work.
Oh, that's interesting.
But now all of a sudden they had to provide their own toilet paper at home?
Hilarious.
I don't know. It did not make sense to me. I don't understand why people lost their minds.
Well, it seemed like some people that were thinking well, if I'm going to be locked inside for a month and we can't get out, What's one thing you don't want? I mean, this is fair. What's one thing you don't want to run out of?
Sure.
Toilet paper.
Right.
But also, if you're home and it's that bad, just hop in the shower. Right? Like, what? Well, I'm not wrong.
Use a washcloth and toss it in the washing machine.
Literally, something. Like, get creative.
Right. And this is actually, it leads into my next one. It's actually not on the list, but people stockpiling hand soap.
Yeah.
Like, hand soap could not be found.
No.
And my thought behind, did you not have hand soap to begin with? Like, it wasn't a thing in your house? Do you not wash your hands? Are you disgusting?
Is this episode turning into Sherry ranting about COVID things?
Maybe, but I just, like, the hand soap, even more than the toilet paper, like, I did not understand that. Because, so for us, we tend to buy, like, we go to Bath & Body Works when they have the, 6 for $20 deal, and we stock up a couple of times a year.
I feel like we always have
hand soap.
A lot of hand soap.
We always have a ton of hand soap. So
on hand.
I see what you did there. So we didn't need to. Like I was like, we already have a bunch of hand soap. We're good. But like the people, like you could not find it.
No.
At the store for months, and I was like, do people really just not have hand soap at their house? That's apparently disgusting.
They're just washing their hands under cold water and then wiping them on their jeans.
Probably.
Gross.
We're just not washing their hands at all. People are gross. Okay. Anyway.
Maybe that's who's behind COVID. Gross people.
Gross people.
So the next one.
Clean people, actually.
Clean people, that's true.
Right.
That's who's behind it.
Yep.
It's like, how do we
get people to actually do, like, basic hygiene?
How do we get the pig pens to wash up? I know. Pandemic. All right. The next, we're getting a little distracted.
I know. Focus.
The next one is what, Sherry?
The grocery pickup, which we sort of mentioned with DoorDash, like the Instacart.
Yeah, so Instacart is like one of our local ones here, and this is grocery pickup. So you go on, you need groceries. Mm-hmm. You don't want to DoorDash every single meal, but you also don't want to walk through the grocery store because at this time you think every other person in the world is going to get you infected.
Correct.
Right? And so it's like, we'll just Instacart and have groceries per pickup or even have groceries delivered to the house.
Yeah, which we did a couple of times.
I've got to say, the times that we did it,
Game changer.
Game changer. Instacart is expensive.
Yep.
If money was no object for us, I think I would Instacart every grocery order.
Well, and so like the ones that we did were Costco, really.
Yep.
And there was just something so nice about just going onto the Costco website and saying, I want this and this and this. And then they just take it to your door. Like, they deliver it to your door, they knock, and they leave.
Oh, it was so nice.
And so we just had to step outside our door and get our 87 pounds of food instead of having to lug it around ourselves. And I was like, this is nice.
I think grocery delivery, because to me that was very opulent.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I could do it.
I could see that.
Like, I could justify that.
Yep.
All right, the next one, this is one we all know. We're all on this conspiracy theory. Zoom.
I am 100% behind the Zoom people creating a pandemic.
You know what's so weird, though, is that, so at my work, we've used Zoom for like 4 or 5 years. Like, maybe not 5 years, but like at least 3 or 4 years. We've used Zoom for a long time before the pandemic.
I had not.
And, well, that's why it's so weird to me, because like it was a part of our routine already. Mm-hmm. And then everyone was like, what is Zoom? I'm like, wait, really? You guys don't know what Zoom is? And so Zoom blew up. Any kind of video conferencing.
Yes. So we use at work, we use Zoom, we use Teams video a lot. And it really like, man, it blew up because everybody was home. And so we couldn't meet for our weekly leadership meetings. Like, we had to do that via video. Yep. And so it was
Zoom.
Ugh.
That's one I could be convinced of that one for sure.
I'm not a fan.
The next one, and this is interesting because they're so big, you think, well, they don't even need a pandemic. But
think about how good they did in that pandemic.
Amazon. Here's what I'll say. We used Amazon more over the last couple of years than we ever have before.
Right, and we always used it. I mean, we've always used it, but
big Amazon
for
users.
Sure. If I don't have to go to the store, if I can just have it delivered to my house, sure, it's going to take a couple more days. That's fine. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yep, that's exactly right, and I loved it. And so it's like, I know that for me, one thing that I do a lot is just these random little trips to the store. It's like, we need one little thing. And it's not always food stuff. Sometimes it's like, we need Ziploc bags. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, we're half down to half of laundry detergent. Bye, I'll go to the store. But like those trips were taken away, and so what I'd be like, it's like, oh, we need Ziploc bags, Amazon.
Right.
It's like, oh, we're low on this, Amazon.
Yep.
Amazon.
Yep.
And so just like box after box showing up at the house
So many.
with all of these random little orders.
Right.
So dumb. All right, the next thing, and this is going to be a very broad thing.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree.
Liquor.
All forms of liquor.
All forms of the alcohols.
White Claws, beers, just straight up like bathtub hooch, everything that was used to get through the last couple of years.
And you know what's really funny is like I've never really been like a day drinker unless I'm on like a cruise. But there was quite the stretch of time, especially right at the beginning.
Oh, the beginning?
When like you would make me lunch.
Yeah.
And bring me a drink.
Of course, yeah,
like,
that was what we did.
Because you just would bring it upstairs because that's where my office is upstairs. And so you would just bring it upstairs and here's your entire margarita.
Well, here's the thing. And this is why you're more responsible than I am.
Noon.
Because to me, my day started before that because the thing that got me through the first 6 months of pandemic
rum chata.
was rum chata. And it's like the thing with rum chata is like for breakfast, it goes in your coffee. Sure. For lunch, it goes over ice. For dinner, you're just swigging out of the bottle. Like rum chata was...
We did go through a lot of rum chata.
Yeah. Maybe rum chata should be on this list for us. That's who was behind our pandemic.
Right.
But like all liquor. And I don't know if other people were like this, but without a doubt, we saw an uptick in the amount of liquor we were consuming.
And our drinks. And it was funny because it was like... once I stopped having like my little lunchtime drinks, I kind of missed them. Like it was
it's so sad.
It was kind of nice to like make it through the second half of the workday.
It's the best. I am a full believer
that like a little bit of help.
I'm a full believer that we all need like a lunchtime cocktail hour.
Yep.
Just like boom, lunchtime. Now we meet for drinks. Back to work. Second half of the day is much better.
Yeah.
So I do think that all forms of liquor behind the pandemic potentially.
Yes.
The next one, this really benefited.
Yeah.
Pajama pants.
Pajama pants, yoga pants, soft pants in general, comfs.
Whatever it is, just anything, because it's the kind of thing that you know you're going to be home all day. Mm-hmm. You know nobody is going to see you from the waist down.
Correct.
Right? Like Zoom meetings and all that. And so it's like, why in the world would I put on anything other than something that's really comfy if I wear pants at all?
Well, sure. I mean, yes, if you're wearing pants at all, I can't even tell you how long the stretch was because there was quite the stretch where you did all of the grocery shopping.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even go with you.
No.
And a big part of that was with my autoimmune stuff. We didn't know how I would do with COVID. And so we really, really just protected me for a very long time. And I didn't leave the house.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
And so I would sleep in my pajamas and I would wake up and I'd put on new clean pajamas and I would go out to my little office.
Yeah.
And like that was my daily routine.
Well,
like one pair of pajamas to the next.
It got to the point that it was like, oh, these are my day pajamas.
Right.
Like, yeah, day pajamas and sleep pajamas. And it's like, what world are we living in?
Right. Yep.
So, like, pajama did great during this.
Absolutely.
The next thing is one that really dominated the last couple of years.
Yeah.
It's hand sanitizer.
Hand Sani.
Hand Sani was everywhere. I mean, you could not find it.
For a long time.
Like, sold out. And everybody wanted, like, whatever they could get. Mm-hmm. I remember at the beginning of this, I think, when our team was thinking about going back to the office, thinking like, oh my God, I got to buy like all this hand sanitizer for the office, and not being able to find hand sanitizer.
Right.
And then like distilleries, and I know this happened all over the country, like distilleries that normally make hard liquor started making hand sanitizer. And so...
Which, let's be real clear, was just the vodka in a hand sanitizer bottle. Like...
That's what I was making your lunch drinks with.
It was different packaging is what it was.
So funny. And so just like hand sanitizer everywhere. Even still, right. And I will say, this is one thing that's come out of this that I actually hope stays, are all of the hand sanitizer stations around.
I agree, because people in general are just kind of gross.
Sure.
And you also just don't know what germs people are carrying. And so I think it's really great to just be able to kind of wash your hands when you go in and out of a store or wherever,
even just walking through places. Because I flew home yesterday, and I got off the airplane. And it was like, I don't know, 2 a.m. I guess, and walking through the airport, right in the middle of my path is a hand sanitizer thing. Getting off an airplane, I loved being able to just like get hand sanitizer and feel a little less disgusting.
Yeah. So
hand sanitizer completely could be behind this pandemic. The next thing, Disney. Now, specifically. You might wonder, well, how in the world could it be Disney? Because like the parks lost a ton of money. Cruises got shut down. That's true. However, Disney Plus. The timing of Disney's launch of Disney Plus,
a little too convenient.
It's suspicious.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say.
It's a tick suspicious.
It's really suspicious. Like, you launch this amazing streaming service and then, whoops, everybody's inside. I don't know. Guess you have to watch Disney Plus now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're stuck inside for months on end? Here's all of your old nostalgia favorite movies.
How odd. How interesting, Disney. What a coincidence. Moving on.
I mean, I'm not complaining because we watched a lot of Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh. Like a lot. It forced us to it created like instant addicts.
Yeah, to like the streaming services in general, but yeah.
Gosh.
Yep.
Well done, Disney.
Next one. Mask makers.
Ain't nobody was making masks before this.
Correct.
Nobody.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, anyone who knew how to sew, anyone who knew how to do anything, pumping out masks like crazy.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Everywhere. I
remember in the very, very early days of this, when masks were just starting to be talked about, I went online and found like a DIY mask with just like a piece of fabric and 2 rubber bands.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, we don't need masks. Why would we have masks?
How do we get masks? They're sold out everywhere.
And so we had to like make masks. It was the jankiest looking thing.
And we made we made them out of like fabric and rubber bands.
Oh, embarrassing.
Yeah.
I think the reason those masks worked is that COVID was so embarrassed by how they looked, even COVID didn't want to go near those masks.
Probably.
And so literally it keeps you from getting COVID simply because of how atrocious they look.
Sure.
It was so bad.
They were bad, but that's all we had until we could get some because everywhere were sold out.
But now they got sparkles, they got glitters, they got masks that light up, they got like everything is mask. Mask is fashion now.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I've even seen
like it's just part of outfit now, and I mean,
it's an accessory.
It's an accessory now, and it's like it's crazy to me like how quickly it just became just like part of culture.
I saw, and I don't remember where it was. I want to say Florida, but I don't remember. A museum that is collecting masks from around I think the U.S. or the world, because they wanted to exhibit on like masks through the pandemic.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, that's so interesting to me because really the masks do tell a story, and it's kind of like people were expressing their personality, their political beliefs, you know what I mean? Their views based on the mask they chose to wear.
I have one that I wear probably the most, it's
your Be Kind
my
mask.
Be Kind mask.
In fact, you've made friends because of that mask.
Right, and it's falling apart now because it's been washed so many times over the last 2 years. But like, yeah, I mean it's a statement. And I'm gonna say, I know a lot of people have really big issues with wearing masks, but for me, it's the kind of thing I almost hope never completely goes away. If you're not feeling well, wear a mask. Like, if you have to go to the store, if you have to go somewhere, wear a mask. We don't want your germs. Or stay home. If you really insist on not wearing a mask, then stay home. Don't share your germs. Because I feel like that's one of the things that I hope comes out of this pandemic is people not sharing any of their germs. Not just their COVIDs, but like, we don't want any of your germs.
It always annoys me when people go to work and they're like hacking. I'm like, you're going to get all of us sick.
Please leave.
Like, literally go home.
Stop being a garbage human.
I hate that.
Right.
Okay. Next, there's a lot of rabbit trails in this one.
I know.
You know what? I want to throw one. Since we're on rabbit trails, can it be my turn to throw a rabbit trail? I think we should do a podcast that is brands that for sure were not behind the pandemic. You know one of them? Bras. Right?
I will say now.
Here we go. This is where I was hoping we'd get to.
I know we're gonna rabbit trail for a real quick second here. Now, granted, as we were sort of coming out of the worst of that pandemic, and kind of getting back to some semblance of normal life, I got really, really sick.
Yep.
And I lost a lot of weight, so none of my bras fit anyway. But I, for sure, like, that was one of the first things that just went away. Not just the pajama pants, obviously. Like, I was wearing pajama pants and t-shirts, but, like, no bra for a very long time. And so when I had to start wearing a bra again, it's like, this is the worst thing ever. And so I full on just went to, like, the bralette. No wires, no actual support. Now, granted, I don't really have boobs, so it's fine. But, like...
You have boobs.
But not really. And so, like... I mean, for me, like, that was a perfectly fine option. But I was just like, I am not going for, like, the fancy wired mess. Because, no. I went for a whole year without having to wear a bra.
Yeah, COVID changed...
I'm not going back to the uncomfortable.
COVID changed your bra habit.
Absolutely.
That's really interesting, actually. So bras, for sure, were not behind COVID because they did not do well.
No.
All right. Next thing, I want to talk about something that came out at the beginning of the pandemic that was, in some ways, this was the hero we needed.
It was the hero we needed.
It was a moment of confusion, a moment of panic, a moment of uncertainty, and enter the scene...
More confusion and uncertainty. And what in that holy hell am I watching?
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
The Tiger King himself, you guys. This was the early pandemic gift that we needed.
Oh my gosh.
Because we needed to all be reminded that no matter how crazy the pandemic was, no matter how crazy this global catastrophe was, there was an even larger catastrophe with a mullet in Oklahoma.
Correct.
Oh my goodness.
And as much confusion and chaoticness and like everything that we had around the pandemic, watching this show made us completely forget about all that because there was so much chaos and so much confusion and literally every single episode being like, what the hell are we watching?
Yeah. That's what we needed.
This is not real life.
No.
What is going on?
There was a Tiger King era of the pandemic. Like if we were to have to break the pandemic down into like different eras, there was the we're out of toilet paper era. There was the, you know what I mean, like all of that. There was also the Joe Exotic.
There's the Tiger King era.
As there should be.
Well,
God, that show, and it's great because we still reference it all the time.
Oh my gosh,
it's so good.
We have a candle.
Of course, we have a candle. Why would you not have a Joe Exotic candle? I don't even understand.
Obviously.
Now the next one to me, listen. Some people believe that the world is controlled by like an Illuminati, a secret group of people who gather in the shadows to truly control the puppet masters of society, if you will. Well, I believe this next group could potentially be the puppet masters of the pandemic.
You might not be wrong.
Sherry, who is this group?
It's the me's of the world.
It's the introverts.
The introverts.
The introverts were like, we have been among people for too long.
We are done.
We have had to go to offices. We have had to fill our days with small talk and chatter.
Ugh, death.
What can we do to keep us at home?
We can create a pandemic.
Year? I know. Let's say that it was a bat in a Chinese food market. Nope, it's the introverts.
It's the introverts saying, how can we stay home?
The problem...
for an extended amount of time and that nobody will have an issue with.
The problem, though...
is that we live with extroverts.
That's what I was just going to say, is that this worked out great except for the introverts that live with extroverts. Because all of a sudden you realized, crap, I'm trapped with this yahoo.
Yep.
Yeah, hey.
I mean, I love you.
Yeah, whatever.
I love you.
Sure, Sherry.
It was really funny because your extrovertedness lasted 3 days inside.
Oh no.
3 days, and you were just like, I gotta get out. I gotta go. And you you just started like driving. Like you couldn't go to stores, you couldn't go anywhere. There were no restaurants open. Like nothing was really open. And again, us trying to like protect me, and so you didn't just go to stores much, but like you would just go drive. You just like I can't be in the house anymore. And I was just like, read a book, sit down, be quiet.
I remember. Gosh, I wish I knew how far into it was. I feel like it was days. And we were in the living room, and I was standing at the window. Like, we have these sliding doors. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And I was with these sliding doors in the living room. And I was literally just standing at the door, staring outside longingly.
It looked like you had been inside for like years. And you were just like, I wonder what people are like out there.
I want to be where the people are.
And it was literally days, like just a couple of days in, like less than a week. And you were just dancing. Like, I know, like gazing longingly outside and just hi cars with people, hi people.
Oh, hi.
I was just like, oh dear God.
There's people in that house over there. Hi.
Every introvert in the world was like, hallelujah, I don't have to people. Every extrovert was like, but wait, I can't people?
But I miss people.
But how do I not people?
Yeah, days into the pandemic, and I'm standing at the window as if I'm a prisoner serving a life sentence, looking at outside freedom. That was me. That was it. I'm me. And I have a specific memory. Because I don't remember what you asked me, but I remember you said something, just like, what are you doing? Or something like that. And I just remember being like, oh yeah. All right.
This is another little aside. I'm going to rabbit trail for a really quick second. You were so excited to do, like, so we have this little, like, word board.
I forgot about this. Oh my God.
So it's like this little word board where just, like, you just put the letters on and you can,
it's like those little, like, felt reader boards where you, like, cute little sayings like live, laugh, love.
Sure. So we had this little board and you were like, I'm going to keep track of every day that we're in Hunker Down. And it was supposed to be 2 weeks, right? It was a lot longer than that, but originally it was going to be 2 weeks. And so you spelled out Hunker Down.
I did.
And you put like day one.
Day one. Yep, Hunker Down day one.
How long did it stay on day one?
So my plan was every day I was going to be like Hunker Down day 1, Hunker Down day 2, Hunker Down day 3. So I did Hunker Down day 1, and then what happened, Sherry?
It stayed on day 1.
I never changed it even once. Literally, it stayed on Hunker Down day 1.
Until I took the sign down. I was like, it was like in front of my books, and I was like, I'm tired of looking at this. I want to look at my books. And so I literally just like took it down. But it was months later that I was just like, okay, well, clearly we're not going to keep track of this.
So that is such a good, and I know we are way off topic. Who cares? It's our podcast. That was such a good look into an extrovert's brain because I was looking for anything to keep me occupied. I was like, I can do this. And then I was like, I'm bored with this. I want people. This is stupid. One day. Like, I'm done. Oh, gracious. Okay, the next one, you came up with this one. And this to me was like a bit of a light bulb moment.
This, I think, is for sure behind the pandemic.
This could be a real conspiracy theory.
Correct. Like, for real.
On who is behind the pandemic. Sherry, who is it?
The plexiglass industry.
Yo.
Who
was buying plexiglass before?
Literally nobody.
Actually, that's not true. Hockey arenas. That's who was buying plexiglass.
That's it.
Hockey arenas, and that's all.
Yes. Now, literally everybody. Every restaurant, every store, every taxi,
banks, tellers.
Everybody where there's any kind of human interaction whatsoever, plexiglass. Yep.
I think you're onto something.
I know. I mean, I was just thinking about it, like the stores that we went to today, like every store had that little piece of plexiglass between us and the person. And grocery stores, like literally everywhere. Hostess stands at restaurants, like it's everybody. And like between tables in restaurants, like every booth has the plexiglass. And like,
did you just crack the code
I
for
think
COVID?
I did, because it just occurred to me, like, as we were sitting down to do this, we've had this list for a little bit, but just now, I was just like, oh, the plexiglass. And it was just because, like, it hit me, like, every store we went to today.
It's everywhere. It's plexiglass, no longer just for hockey arenas. That's the new tagline.
Don't want to talk to people, don't want to share people's germs.
Plexiglass.
I think we need to start doing it in our house. Just like
between us. Plexiglass.
Partitions.
I'm sorry, Sherry. Can you step behind the plexiglass, please? I don't get COVID.
The little, like, pass-throughs.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
So the next one, I believe that this is another organized group.
I agree. Yep.
Who had a lot to gain from people staying home.
Yep.
Who's that?
The pets.
They gathered together. Think Secret Life of Pets.
Yep. Every dog, every cat who is left home alone all day while you go to work, they're like, what can we do to get our humans home?
They're like, this is stupid. Their hands should be on our bodies petting us, and they go to work. What can we do to make them not go to work?
Mm-hmm.
I know. Let's keep them home with the pandemic.
Let's talk to this bat and try to...
The one bat, there was the sacrificial bat. Come on, bat. It's for the good of all of us. And so... Because
Missy has gotten many more pets than she usually did.
Oh, she's gotten so much attention.
Yep.
Because we're home all of the time.
And so many more treats because we're home all the time. And she's like, hello. Hey, hello. Look at how cute I am. I think that you should give me treats.
Yeah. I will say the amount of treats Missy's gotten has not been the best for her health.
Well, her girth.
Which leads me into the next one that I think could be behind this. Now, this is a little bit different.
Yep.
Because this is an industry that did not benefit during the pandemic. Directly. Right. However, they took the long game. They took the long game. The long approach. Mm-hmm. This is the fitness industry. These are gyms.
Gyms, weight loss industries.
Because they knew, you know what? Let's keep America inside. Let's give them DoorDash.
All the DoorDash.
Let's give them grocery delivery. Mm-hmm. Let's give them anxiety and high sugar liquors. And 2 years later, they will emerge chonky. And here we are.
You should join a gym.
And that's right. And you should join a gym. Hey, come on. Join us, friends. So I think that gyms in the fitness industry were behind this to keep us inside, get us nice and chonky, and then to lure us with their $10 a month specials.
Yes, correct.
Such a good idea.
Brilliant. Playing that long game.
They are playing the long game.
I know.
This last one
you came up with, and I was like, oh, absolutely.
Because I was trying to think, what did we do during the pandemic? What was something that we did that we wouldn't have otherwise? I believe, and here's the thing, you wouldn't think she'd be behind this because
she seems really nice and sweet.
She seems so sweet, so kind. She's very
soft-spoken.
Yeah, soft-spoken. She's very and so you wouldn't think that this is the kind of woman that would be behind a global pandemic.
But I think she is.
Marie Kondo.
You
know what sparks joy in her? Pandemics. Why? Because we're stuck inside with our clutter.
We have to stare at our clutter all day, and we're like, ugh.
And we've got her books and her YouTube videos and her shows. And it's like, I don't know, maybe I can fold my pants like that. And then you do, and you realize she's like a black magic magician.
Correct.
And things fit better and just act better. Marie Kondo. Yep. Behind the pandemic.
We decluttered so much of our house when we were stuck inside because we were looking at all of our crap and we were just like, ugh.
That's the thing, is that everyone was inside, and so you were forced to stare at the things that maybe you would just glance at.
Yep.
Right? It's before the pandemic.
That you really only see in the morning and evening as you're passing by them. But all day now you're staring at these piles of crap in your house.
And you know who knew that would happen?
Marie Kondo.
And that's why she's behind this.
Yep.
So there's our list, everybody. That is who we think could be behind the pandemic. Everything from DoorDash, Charmin, the entire liquor industry.
Internet providers, I think.
Joe Exotic.
And
the one that gets me, I think it could be Introverts in the plexiglass industry. See, I think that it's there. They have a lot to gain on both sides.
Yeah.
So here's what we want to do. We want to hear from pets. You. And pets. Did we miss anything? Is there an industry? Is there a business? Is there a brand that you think we clearly missed that had a lot to gain from the last couple of years?
With people stuck inside.
I want to know.
Yep.
Was there any of these? What was your favorite one of these? What's the one that you're like, you know what? That's a conspiracy theory I'll get behind.
I really think the plexiglass.
That's me.
Dang it.
That's me. Let's start a new conspiracy theory that big plexiglass was behind this because I'm 100% getting behind that.
Yes. It's everywhere. Yes.
I like to think that somewhere on some remote island in the South Pacific, there's a guy who is wearing a suit made of money and he's sitting by his pool that is filled with gold coins and somebody's like, hey, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a plexiglass salesman. This is just my quarterly bonus. Can you imagine being a plexiglass salesman right now?
Oh, they don't have to do anything. It is for sure the introverted plexiglass salesmen who were like, you know what I want to do? I want to kill all of my numbers through the roof, but not actually have to leave my house to do it. Here's what we're going to do.
Freaking plexiglass. So you guys, the way we want to hear from you is head over to YouTube, search LeggLife Podcast, hit that subscribe button. I think that we are getting closer to almost 400 subscribers on the LeggLife podcast.
Nice.
That's pretty cool over there on YouTube. And let us know, find this episode, and let us know what industry you think we might have missed.
Yes.
Or which your favorite one that we listed is.
Yes. So I was just going to add, right now, the only way that we can actually engage with you guys on our podcast is over there on YouTube.
It is.
So please go subscribe to that and listen to them there.
Yep. I know the vast majority of you guys listen on Apple, you listen on Spotify, but know that where you interact with us is actually over on the YouTubes.
Yep.
So go check that out, and then we'll be back next week. What episode is next week? 60?
Yeah.
Episode 60 next week.
Episode 60.
Very fun. So friends, we love you guys, and we will see you next week on the next LeggLife podcast.
Bye.
Bye.